VIP, baby. Listen, it's Mercedes, and yes, you're manifesting with Mercedes. So each quarter, I look at what I have learned the previous quarter, and then I put specific empower plays, actions, thoughts to making sure that what I experienced that was good, I can experience it again, or making sure what kind of went awry, or when the train jumped the daggone track, that I make sure I'm not on any of those trains anymore. So mindset management and manifesting with Mercedes, you know, there are 5 specific areas: personal, professional, spiritual, physical, and financial. So when you're manifesting, I want to share with you a few of the things that I've learned that keep me focused and make sure that my energy and my vibration is in the right place. So the VIP section is the only choice for me. Listen, so many of you want somebody to go above and beyond for you. So many of you want somebody to sow into your life, to give you a leg up, to give you some favor or preferential treatment. When the truth is, you don't bring that same energy and that same vibration to your own existence. Sometimes you got to pay for the VIP section, you all. Sometimes if there is an expert whose services you need or whose knowledge you desire, you got to be willing to pay for it. When you're manifesting, you got to bring the same level of energy and commitment and financial investment to the table that you want somebody else to do for you. VIP section is the only choice for me. The reason why I know I deserve to be treated like a VIP is because I sow that into my own life. I treat me like a VIP. The second thing personally that I want you to keep in mind as you are manifesting is the whole notion of I don't have the energy for that. This particular quarter was the first quarter of 2019. That took on a whole different meaning for me. So a lot of times people say, I don't have the energy for that. And what they're talking about is like they're tired or they don't feel like giving something focus or conversation. But when I tell you, I learned and experienced some things that made me realize that I just don't have the energy. So when we talk about energy, we're talking about vibration. We're talking about the fuel that causes you to do what you do or to not do what you do. And so there are some things that came into my existence that were vibrating on a very low level. And in order for me to tend to them, that means I would have had to come down off the wall from doing what I was doing to tend to what was down here. And my energy is too high to come down there and to deal with that type of stuff. Sometimes I don't have the energy for that. Means that my energy is so high. If I connect my cord to your outlet, pooh, you might get blown out of the water, you all. So my energy is not a match for some things. And I know that you have been told and you have been taught that when you go to higher levels that some people, they can't go with you. I now view that from a totally different perspective. What I see now is that as your vibration raises, as your energy raises, it has nothing to do, you all, in this context, with you cutting people off. It has nothing to do with you leaving people behind. It simply has to do with the fact that if your energy is higher, they can't elevate to that. If your energy is higher, they can't vibrate to that. Doesn't mean we no longer love you. It doesn't mean we no longer are able to fellowship with you. But what it does mean is if I am manifesting the absolute best for my life and our energies don't match, I can't give my energy somewhere where it will be expended improperly. All right. So those are 2 things I want you to consider personally. Professionally, I want you to know that exposure is the answer. Whatever it is you're working to manifest in your life, exposure is the answer. What do I mean when I say exposure is the answer? If you want more business professionally, you need to tell somebody. If you want more people to attend your church or come to your ministry, you need to tell somebody. So many of you all are downing people, and y'all make these grand proclamations that you going off Facebook. Go off Facebook. I'm staying on Facebook. Facebook gives me exposure and makes me good money. Cha-ching. Some of you are so busy hiding what you do and keeping what you do to yourself. The message that you have is not getting enough exposure. The products and services that you offer, not getting enough exposure. The value that you add to your family, to the community, to ministries everywhere, you're not getting enough exposure. So professionally, you need to open your big old mouth and let somebody know. Part of the reason you're having difficulty manifesting what you want is because people all over creation, you know, you've been saying it too. You've been telling people, hide your blessings. Don't tell people what you doing. Move in silence. Don't let everybody know your business. Here's what. Ain't no devil in hell can keep you from getting what you're supposed to get. There is no person who has the capacity to keep you from manifesting what you want unless you give your power over to them. You need to consider exposure. If you want something to grow, if you want something to expand professionally, you need to expose it. The second thing is you need to learn to do your stuff. What do I mean when I say do your stuff? Here's what I know for Mercedes. For Mercedes, for all of my career, I have used my gifts and talents to help other people build their business, build their ministry, build their profession. What I gave away, both in volunteer services and what I was contracted and paid to do, what I know without question. When I started to do it for myself, my fulfillment grew even more. When I started to do my stuff for Mercedes, apply the principles to my own work, I began to feel even more encouraged and began to feel even more fueled. Part of the reason you feel down, you feel low, you feel frustrated, you feel stuck is because you're giving everything away. But here's what, if your cup is running over, then you have what you need and you're giving from the overflow. A lot of times you are giving everything away to everybody else. You need to take care of you first and then give from the overflow. So do your stuff. Spiritually, y'all gonna be all right, but I'm gonna tell you what the truth is. What I learned even the more in the first quarter of 2019 is that y'all gonna be all right. I don't care if you're gonna be all right or not. I know it's the truth. I learned that I am God, right? I am God. If He is in me and I am a part of Him, then we are one. He said He gives us the power to obtain wealth, which means what? His power is on the inside of me. And too often I must admit, I'm not 100% delivered, but too often we are looking outside of ourselves to access money and to access the resources that we need, when the truth is He put the power inside of us. His word says that greater works than these shall we do. Greater works than these shall you do. If we're going to do greater works, guess where the greater work comes from? It doesn't come from the outside. It comes from what? It comes from the inside. Why? Because His power is on the inside of us. His word says He gives every one of us a measure of faith. You all, your measure of faith is not on the outside. It is where? It is on the inside. All of these things that God has put into us, He has His creating power on the inside of us. He has His speaking power on the inside of us. And so spiritually, you have to realize that while, yes, we reverence Him and we speak to Him, but we have His power inside of us. And we have to turn inward more in order to be co-creators of whatsoever it is we desire for our lives. Physically, what I learned is that walking is my superpower, all right? So physically what I learned is that walking is my superpower. You have to figure out what your superpower is. So I have to go and walk. I have to do my affirmations and declarations as I walk. I have to tap into my superpower of walking. For you, yours might be cooking. For you, yours might be writing. Whatsoever your superpower is physically, then you have to tap into it. Now, the next one y'all might not be ready for, but I don't even give a care because this is my revelation. But I believe if you open up your minds, if you take the blinders off, you will realize that it is such for you as well. Pleasure is a gift. And here's what. I get to choose what gives me pleasure. I get to choose with my eyes, with my ears, with my nose, with my mouth, with my hands. Every single sense that I have, I get to choose what gives me pleasure. And here's what I know without question. In our society, we are very judgmental. And too many of you stifle what would give you joy. Too many of you stifle what would grow your peace. Too many of you stifle because it's what we have been taught. What you're not supposed to do, who you're not supposed to be with, what you're not supposed to say. All manner of things that suck the joy out of life. But what I want you to know, if you find something and it gives you pleasure, one of the best ways for you to manifest more of what you want in your life is to make sure that you intentionally experience joy and that you intentionally experience pleasure. Finally, financially, what I want you to consider as you manifest is, first and foremost, you are the answer that you have been hoping for. You are the answer that you have been hoping for. Too many of you are waiting on the knight in shining armor to come through. Too many of you are waiting on the great one to ride in on the white horse. Too many of you are waiting on those numbers to show up on that little piece of paper saying you are the winner with the comma and the zeros behind it. But what I want you to know is financially, you are the answer that you have been hoping for. And this all goes back to what we just said spiritually. Spiritually, you have the power to obtain wealth. Spiritually, greater work shall you do. Spiritually, you have a measure of faith. Spiritually, do your stuff. So what does that mean? Every single thing that is intertwined personally, professionally, spiritually, or physically, it can impact you financially. So just make sure that as you walk this path, as that you speak things into existence, as you declare and decree what you want for your life, that you have the power and you are your greatest answer. Use everything you have to tap into it and manifest what you want. I'm Mercedes, and yes, you're manifesting with Mercedes.